I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you how we're putting the guitars together on the album Virtual World. A lot of people have asked me about this, so I'm going to explain to you using a song called Here We Go. Now this is just the verse section. I've taken out the vocals, so all you can hear is the guitars, bass and the drums. So let's have a listen to this through first, then I'll explain to you how we've done it. Okay, so that's the verse. Now, a couple of things we have to keep in mind. Firstly is the idea of panning. And what that means is essentially we've chosen left or right to put guitars on. So with the rhythm guitars, we have two rhythm guitars playing. One is all the way on the left-hand side, one's always all the way on the right-hand side. Other than that, they play the same thing. But other than that, we've taken a Def Leppard approach, essentially, which is basically having no two guitars play the same thing at the same time. So our rhythm guitars stick together, everything else is completely different, and with variations. So let's just have a listen to the rhythm guitar to get an idea. Pretty simple. It's just simply keeping the beat, following the bass, following the drums, and thickens up the sound. But if we look at our lead guitars, what we've done is we've taken a simple lead progression, we've split it up into two, so we've had two guitars play it. We've then panned both parts, left and right. Not as far, we haven't panned them as far as the rhythm guitars, but we've panned them all the same, just to give a bit of space. So if we have a listen to them, this is what it sounds like. Okay, two parts, two guitars. When we get to the thick of the verse, what we start doing then is we add more guitars on top of that. And we basically play a riff. We'll work out a guitar riff, and then we'll work out a variation of that guitar riff, and we'll have the two guitars play the two variations simultaneously. Now you've got to be careful with this, because sometimes it can sound like an awful mess, but if you choose your notes correctly, think about what you're playing, it can sound quite good, and it can really, really thicken up your song. So if we play that, this is what we should get. Okay, so there are two guitars there. Let's have a listen to one of them. Pretty simple riff. If we listen to the other guitar, you'll notice that it is similar. Not the same, but it's similar. Again, you pan those two guitars off to left and right. You know, not as far as your rhythm guitars, but just pan them off a little way. And when you put them together, that's when you get that really nice, thick sort of sound. On top of that, then we put in extra little fills here and there. So we'll have, for example, something that I particularly like to do all the time. The other guys go mad at me for this, but so be it. I like doing the false harmonics. Use your tremolo bar and really bring it up and send it back down again. You then pan that from left to right, and it really gives you a sense of space when you're playing that song all together. On top of that, again, if we go back to those lead guitars we looked at the beginning of the verse, and I'll just play them again so we can hear those again. To basically thicken that sound up a bit more, we actually add an extra guitar on top there as well. And this guitar simply plays one note. It's just a high note, and it just thickens up that sound again. So if we listen to all those three guitars playing, this is what you get. So you should be able to hear that higher note in there now. If we put all those together, then we should end up with a nice thick sounding verse with lots of things happening in there. So basically the idea is to try and keep your ears, engaged and never really knowing what's going to come next. So let's have a listen and see what we get. And essentially we do that all the way through the song. That's just for a verse section. We'll do the same thing in the bridge section, we'll do the same thing in the chorus. Depending on the song, depends on how many guitars we might put in it. Some songs will only have one or two guitars. Some, like this one, in some sections may have up to 10 guitars playing 10 different things. It sounds like a lot, it sounds chaotic, but if it's done correctly it can sound really, really good. And then when you put it all together, you can get something like this. So if we listen to this, is going to be the bridge section of the song. Again, we've done the same sort of idea, so if you have a listen, you can get the idea.